Here on WSGW. This hour, we're going to talk about a number of development things and some educational things too, because we have a couple of folks with us in studio this morning to do that. First of all, she heads up Saginaw Promise, and we say good morning to Deb Sanchez. Good morning, Deb.
Good morning, Art.
Good to see you. And from Saginaw Futures, where he now is in control, we say good morning to Tom Miller. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Good to see you guys. So I don't know where to begin. I guess we ought to talk a little bit about what we started to talk about off air, and that's the potential of a medical diamond in Saginaw, which I think everybody's heard that there's that development happening. Next week there's going to be a big panel discussion about it. Deb, you're the instigator. Tell us about it.
Yes. The Saginaw Promise, has, of course, two fundraisers. One is the golf outing. One is the Power of a Promise. And when we look at the Power of a Promise, we always try to bring in a topical speaker or a topic that is going to draw interest. And we were thinking that based on hearing some of the speakers, the medical diamond would be an excellent subject to bring in because it's really in line with what we're trying to do through education, is to look at our economy in Saginaw to affect change and to really produce some job growth and to have a place for our students to go on to work and form careers. So with that, we looked at forming a committee, actually a panel, to come in and speak about the medical diamond. Tim Morales, city manager for the city of Saginaw, is a co-chair along with Bishop Alvernis Johnson. And so with Tim, we also had very good insights. And so with that, we identified 5 speakers. And those are Dr. Samuel Shaheen, Senator Ken Horn, Tim Morales will be speaking, John Kaczynski from Saginaw Valley, and also Dr. Ramont Roberts, Superintendent of Saginaw Public Schools.
Be an interesting panel.
Yes, a very informed panel and a very involved panel with this committee. And we're pleased that Tom Miller can be here today, too, to talk more with the details about the medical diamond. But with that, we will be spending some time at our event having the panel moderated by Art Lewis. And yes, and we will have... I think the big thing is that as we were out in the community, people had heard tidbits about the medical diamond, but they weren't hearing the details, or they couldn't really speak further than that. They just knew something was happening. And so with that, we said, well, let's bring a panel together and let's really make this a subject so that people can come, get information, and go out as ambassadors to know more about this and share the information with the community.
So you mentioned this is a fundraiser.
Yes, it is. It is our annual Power of a Promise event.
So how do people buy tickets?
They can, at this point, I would definitely suggest that they call the office, and they can call 989-607-3428. I'll repeat that. It's a new phone number. That's why I hesitated. 989-607-3428. They can also email dsanchez, S-A-N-C-H-E-Z, at saginawpromise.org, and we can prepare or get those tickets. There is still room available. Sponsorships are actually ending today as far as getting in the booklet. Our souvenir booklet deadline is today, so that's hard and fast, and we're getting that done.
So, Tom, let me ask you this as someone who's involved in development, Saginaw Futures. What would the medical diamond mean to Saginaw?
I do think it is a once-in-a-generational opportunity for the city of Saginaw. I mean, the city of Saginaw and Saginaw County in general, through the last more than 100 years, has gone through transformational change. We all know. We've talked about it before, from a fur trapping destination to logging and lumber to advanced manufacturing and the automotive industry, which is still, primarily our base here in the region, but medical services is really, I think one of the legs of the stools of our economy.
It's interesting you say that, because I would now, as we sit here, put the medical community above the automotive community in terms of base.
Yeah, I think it really depends on
employment.
Yeah, it depends on how you define it. Whether in the city of Saginaw, certainly it probably is. The county is still some of our larger employers next tier, HSC and Corning, which is for another show, Art, but equally as exciting. Certainly, medical care in the city of Saginaw has the opportunity to transform the city and the riverfront. I think one thing that's not talked about enough regionally, I think sometimes we get a little bit myopic here within our own region. Our two hospitals, Covenant and My Michigan, serve over a third of the state of Michigan for medical care. And this project is not a new project. It's got a new name. It's the medical diamond. I think that's why maybe some of the confusion, or people don't know exactly what that is. But it's really a project that we've been working on for, I've been at Saginaw Future for over 20 years, and it probably went on another 5 or 10 years before that. And it's really simply about leveraging our medical assets that we have in the riverfront. And how do we, I think two things. From Saginaw Future's perspective, because we're economic development, how do we leverage that to the ultimate economic benefit for the city, for the county, for the region, and for its people? And then just as importantly, how does that benefit the increase in critical care in health delivery throughout the region? And I think those are two pretty impactful things.
The regionalization is important. A number of years ago, we were having dinner with Malcolm Field and his wife, and they had just installed the CyberKnife at what was Ascension. And he said, "Have you seen it?" I said, "No." So we went down on a Sunday. I think it was Mother's Day even. We went down on a Sunday, and Malcolm took us into the building and showed us all around and how it works and everything. And then come to find out, first there were only 2 CyberKnives in the state at the time. The first patient for the Ascension CyberKnife was from Indiana. And I went, that explains why they got it. It was Malcolm and 9 of his other doctor buddies that put up quite a bit of the money. But those kinds of things draw people.
Yeah, they definitely do. It's not... Of course, we service everybody in Saginaw County, but, our hospitals are drawing patients from as far as the Mackinac Bridge. And, we have the only VNA hospital north of, I think, Ann Arbor. So we have a really high concentration of medical services, and we need to celebrate that and leverage it, both for economic impact, but also for community health.
Yeah, and realistically, this will also benefit My Michigan and Midland, and
of course
McLaren and Bay. I mean, they're all beneficiaries of this.
Yeah, this is not just a City of Saginaw project. This is really about Saginaw, Bay, Midland, and Isabella counties all working together. The hospital systems are interconnected, and it's also great partnership. SVSU has the largest nursing program in the state of Michigan. Something else we don't celebrate enough in our community. SVSU nursing students learn alongside folks that are trying to become doctors
and
from
stay
CMU.
here.
That's right, and that's really one of the missions of the College of Medicine. One of its founding tenets is to train physicians so that primary care physicians relocate or stay in rural parts of the Midwest.
So that everybody understands, we already have half the school here.
That's right, yep.
We have the last 2 years, the residency part.
Years 3 and 4, yep.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, talk more with Deb Sanchez and Tom Miller. All ahead here on the Art Lewis Show. And let me see if I can give away some money. All right, we're back with you in studio with me, Deb Sanchez from Saginaw Promise, and Tom Miller from Saginaw Futures, talking about the upcoming, and I'm going to use that word, upcoming medical diamond.
Yeah.
Let's be positive.
That's right.
And Deb, I just will slide away from the diamond just for a minute. Give everybody an overview of Saginaw Promise for those that live in a shell and haven't heard of it.
Of course. The Saginaw Promise was started as an economic initiative. It was really set up as that focus of how could we build up the urban centers, the urban communities, and Saginaw being one of the original 10 promise zones. We looked at
I think we should
examples.
point out this was state originated.
What happened was it was inspired by the Kalamazoo Promise.
Right.
Kalamazoo came up with this area-based scholarship and said if we can offer that, we can bring people into the urban center, we can bring people back into the community because we're offering a scholarship for their students. And Governor Granholm, along with Democrats and Republicans, said, hey, it's working in Kalamazoo. What can we do to duplicate that process across the state? And so with that, they looked at 10 of the urban centers in the state of Michigan and looking also at, dwindling population base, poverty levels, and saying, what can we do to keep people who are there, also attract people, and also emulate what's taking place in Kalamazoo. And so with that, Saginaw was one of the first 10. And we had to raise our funds, and we're still raising our funds with some help now from the state. But it's really one of those things that we looked at it, and I wasn't on the original board, but I was attending meetings and part of the committees. And we came up with the parameters of how we're going to raise the funds, who's going to be eligible, and so forth. And really, it is place-based, because if you live in the cities of Saginaw, Zilwaukee, Kochville, or that area of Buena Vista that is designated to the Saginaw Public School District, and you attend school and graduate from a high school within that geographic footprint, you are eligible for this scholarship. You just simply need to complete, and we require students complete the Saginaw Community Foundation scholarship application. Complete FAFSA, you've got a scholarship. Currently, and I'd like to mention this, currently we are able to and have been able to fund tuition and mandatory fees. We just submitted our development plan to the state treasury. And this is to allow us to go under a new law that has been passed by the state that would allow us to fund the cost of attendance, which means we could expand what we fund to housing, to transportation, to books, to
the
supplies.
overall cost of attendance.
Overall cost. And so we're excited about that. And so we're just waiting to hear back, and I haven't heard anything yet that are questions, so I'm thinking it's going to go on to the next step.
So if you do that, then you're going to have to have 4 fundraisers a year instead of 2.
We will be definitely fundraising, but we also do have the support of a state equalized tax, which is not a tax that was taken from anyone else. It's based on actually a growth in the property valuation. And with that law of the promise zones, the state legislature said if you can do what you're supposed to do and the property valuation goes up, we will give you half of that. And so that's also a big help. That will be a big help to us as we're going forward.
As far as you know, in the state budgets, it's just been passed.
Yes.
You're doing all right.
It has been passed and approved as well.
And the 2 fundraisers you do, this one coming up on the 15th, which is the panel discussion on the
that'll be on the
medical
16th.
16th. How much does it cost to go?
It is tickets for the general public are $100 each. If you're a governmental or nonprofit, it's $85.
And
they will get lunch. They will be entertained. They will receive updates, some really exciting updates that we'll be presenting about our student outcomes.
And it goes into your scholarship fund.
Yes. All the proceeds. We'll be doing that. Yes.
And the other fundraiser is the golf outing, which
Yes.
is held the other side of the year.
Yes, that was held in August, actually. So we go from
was late.
August.
Yeah.
It's August, and then we do this event, which is normally late fall.
All right. Tom, the medical diamond, as I saw the plans and as I've learned about it, is more than a medical diamond, isn't it? It's got lots of stuff in it, like maybe a hotel, maybe restaurants, maybe apartments.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, if you want to have a quality education campus in your downtown, you need a lot of auxiliary stuff to support those students and faculty. So we want to make sure that when it happens, as you said, Art, that we're prepared with supportive development. You need coffee shops and places to eat, and as Deb said, I mean, I think that the primary driver for this region for a long time, and Ken Horn is my co-chair on the Medical Diamond, has been growing the population. I mean, that is
big thing in Ken's world.
Yeah, that is the number one goal, I think, for most communities. You're either growing or you're not. And so part of this is to add amenities and housing and commercial spaces that will create a campus between the two hospitals within our downtown that can be a magnet to draw population in.
Let me ask this question. You mentioned them earlier. The Cornings, the Hemlock Semiconductors, the SK Siltrons, etc. They're all looking for employees. Corning, 1,500 of which, I understand they already got 1,400 hired or something like that. The biggest question I see is where are you going to house them?
Yeah, I mean, that is, we just attended the International Economic Development Corporation's annual meeting was in Detroit this year for the first time. And I must have went to 15 different breakout sessions where you have, a couple thousand economic development folks from all over the world, primarily in the Western Hemisphere. But childcare and housing are two issues that are a challenge, not only nationally, but in this part of the world, but nationally as well. The cost of housing is difficult. It's
ridiculous.
Well, the inflation that happened a couple of years ago. And
COVID happened.
COVID, inflation, labor markets are so. It is a perfect storm, and that's something that we're trying to get creative on. Covenant's done a great job with it. That you could have a show. I think you should have a show on Covenant's commitment to increasing housing around their campus.
Yep.
But certainly housing, and we're working with developers and some tools to try and make that easier.
Because, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, if you built a starter home, let's say 1,500 square feet, you could probably build it and sell it for $125,000, $150,000. Now with, 300 a square to start, thereabouts, you got to build that same home for $450,000. Who's going to buy it? Who can afford to buy it? That's,
Yeah, it's a difficult equation because wages cannot go up at the pace that the cost of housing has. And as you said, I mean, when I first started in economic development, we were building, we were assisting companies that were working on projects that were $120, $150 a square foot. Post-COVID, it's, as you said, it's $220, it's $250. If you want something really nice, it's going to be upwards of $300. And really, that that's not attainable for, especially it's especially difficult for those that are in the ALICE population, those that are in the the workforce housing, which are that's the bread and butter of what supports our company. So we do need to, as a state, we need to figure that out. We need tools to do that. Yeah. And childcare costs almost $1,000.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
I got to take a break, and we'll be back with our guests.
Being a part of a
Back with you on the Art Lewis Show. We're talking to Deb Sanchez from Saginaw Promise. Tom Miller from Saginaw Future. On the 16th, which is a Thursday, is a big panel discussion and fundraiser for Saginaw Promise on the creation of the Medical Diamond in Saginaw. A major, major step forward in terms of development. And is there any kind of timeline, Tom? He's laughing.
Yeah, I think there are several components to the projects that have been proposed for the Medical Diamond, and each project has its own timeline. What you're seeing out there right now, you've seen a couple of buildings being demolished, and that's a private development. That will probably be the first. You'll see the first buildings go up. And then on the site of the old farmers market is the beginning of the construction of the infrastructure. I think what people don't realize is when you're doing a project of this scale and scope, a lot of work goes into the site readiness and the infrastructure. We raised almost $40 million, and thanks to Consumers Energy, who is helping us with a project to relocate some high voltage utility lines off the site. And the city has worked really hard to, Tim and Phil Carwatt from the city have worked really hard on infrastructure. So the first phase will be, $35 or $40 million worth of infrastructure. And then at various times, 2 projects are tied to ARPA funding, everyone's favorite subject. And those
For now, until it disappears.
those monies have to be spent by the end of 2026. So you'll see, I think, those 2 projects happen first, and then each project will start on their own timeline.
And we're probably talking realistically 3-4 years,
Yeah.
maybe 5,
Yeah, I think
start to finish with everything.
you'll probably see some groundbreaking next year in the spring on some private buildings, and you'll see the county has a project, and my Michigan Great Lakes Bay Health has a project that will start next year because of the ARPA funding, and then CMU and SVSU have some fundraising to do, and then working on their own timeline.
There are a lot of organizations involved. It's not just CMU.
No, I think we have 35 maybe folks on the Medical Diamond Steering Committee. This is an initiative about economic development. It's about education, medical education. It's about improving health outcomes. It's about improving the community. So we want to make sure we had a lot of stakeholders involved.
To put it in simple terms, it's a win-win. It's one of those ideal type developments that you look for, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to benefit patients of the hospitals. It's going to benefit the community at large. It's going to, Art, when you want to go out to dinner, there's going to be new restaurants in downtown for you to go to.
Which is one of the things Saginaw has been missing.
Yeah, we need more residents. We need more places for people to live. We need more things to do in terms of restaurants and those kind of things. And it's going to help the universities and the hospitals to grow, which is also equally important.
And Deb, Saginaw Promise got involved because?
We really got involved because this is in line with what we do. We're educating students, but with that education, we want them to come back and come to Saginaw. And if there are things, as Tom was just highlighting, some of those things that'll be here, jobs, if we're looking at some of the cultural things, I mean, we've got the Temple Theater, we've got the Dow, we've got Memorial Cup activity, we have, Friday Night Live, we've got lots of activities, but there'll be even more because when you bring people in, there's going to be support services.
I have said till I'm blue in the face, if you think about the region without Isabella County, we'll leave them out for the minute. If you think about Saginaw Bay, Midland County, and let's assign a number of approximately 400,000 people, where can you find a city in the United States of 400,000 population with 2 symphony orchestras, multiple art museums, multiple theater complexes, multiple theater companies, multiple choral societies? Where?
Yeah.
Nowhere. Doesn't exist.
No.
But yet here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talk about quality of life, and sometimes I worry that the people who live in this forest, you don't see the trees for the forest, the usual routine. But here we are, One more break, we'll come back and finish up with our guest this morning.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jess.
Attracting businesses or folks, you really in order to get in the game, you need about 500,000 people to be considered for some of these larger projects. They want to see, a certain labor pool. They want to see a size. And really, when you put the communities together, we have about that 500,000 threshold.
You're right about there.
Yeah, and we work really cooperatively together because we know that we're stronger together, and we really need the support of one another to move these initiatives
Yeah, I
forward.
think the city of Saginaw has been lucky because the population fell under that $50,000 population level. And when that happens, you can expect federal cuts, but they didn't see any. They were lucky so far.
Yeah, so far.
So we'd like to bring that population back in so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, population growth is got to be on everybody's mind, and we all the work that Deb's doing here to get kids scholarships, get them trained. We're just talking. We have an event right after Deb's event on the 16th. We have 30 local employers. I just handed to me on the way out the door, but at the Pierce Road Bar and Grill.
Right, Saginaw Valley, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really unique opportunity. We're going to have the top employers from the region in a very relaxed setting, and inviting graduates to come and interact directly with the HR representative. So it's the continuum. Deb getting them into school, and then once they're coming out, this event connects them directly with our top employers, so they can have direct conversations.
Yeah, we've spent enough years seeing them all leave. It's time they hang around.
Yeah, and we have great jobs.
We do.
We have great companies to work for. Morley doesn't get talked enough about. Nextier, Corning, HSC, Dow. We have so many great companies, the hospitals, and a lot of jobs available, a lot of good paying jobs.
And almost always.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Yeah, and I think we just don't, we're our own worst enemy in the fact that we don't, purport and support and evangelize the kind of things that we have in our community, because we do have great opportunities here.
So let's talk, Deb, for a minute about those scholarships. If students are interested in those, what's the timing in terms of applying for them, and how do they go about it?
Thank you. November 1st.
Oh, it's coming.
Yes, it is.
Glad
Again,
I asked.
the Saginaw Community Foundation Scholarship will open up online November 1st. It will be due February 13th. And so we're asking, of course, a number of the high schools that we work with and the Community Foundation does outreach with will be assisting and promoting that with students. And other students, too. I'd like to mention, too, students who have not applied or maybe have applied but maybe thought they didn't need the Saginaw Promise Scholarship. They have up to 6 years to use their Saginaw Promise Scholarship. They just need to apply. So if they maybe went off to do something else, a job or what have you, and said, gee, I need to upgrade my skills, they have the opportunity to come back and apply, take some classes, and they can use their Saginaw Promise Scholarship.
Is the scholarship paid directly to the school?
How
does it work?
Directly to the school. That scholarship will go out to them. And currently it is for tuition and mandatory fees, but we are working to make that change. So, yes, that would be dollars going directly to the school.
Now, is it a fixed amount all the time, or does it depend on your balance sheet?
It really depends. We will be looking at what we raise and what we have access to. We never want to overcommit so that we can't fund all of the scholars. And so currently the funds for a four-year institution is $4,000. And that would be $2,000 a semester. And then we also have the community college or skilled trade component, and that is if they are going to a community college or they're doing skilled trades, and we give skilled trades what we give at community college, we will fund them what it takes to get them to 60 credits.
I'm glad to hear you say that about skilled trades.
Oh, most definitely.
Because for years and years it was college, and sacrifice to skilled trades. And I was telling some kids, go out and learn to be a welder. You make more than most college graduates,
That is so true. There are those skilled trades that are so important, and we need to fill those positions, and they are good jobs.
All right, and Tom, what's on the futures plate? Anything?
Lots.
Always.
Lots are. Yeah, we're gonna make this medical diamond happen. It's coming. It's gonna happen. So we're positive about that. We're so excited about, as you said, Corning. They're very happy about the amount of people that they've been able to hire. I really think that we have an emerging cluster of companies here in our region.
I
That's
have
exciting.
said, and not based on any fact, just a gut feeling, that this region could lead the state in development and employment growth.